You are listening to the Catechism of the Lesser Creators. Chapter 1. Who are we? Though this may not be part of what I call the sacred book of books, it is something worth reading if you are truly the creative type. And we should live by it so long as we do not oppose the book of books. This is a letter I write to my beloved followers who are of a like mind. You know who you are, dear brothers and sisters. This book of teaching should help us understand our potential and why we are so different from the society that often ridicules and rejects us, even to the point that we are mistakenly labeled as strange, weird, insane, quirky, or socially inept. Though we are in this world, called planet Earth, let us declare that we are not of this world, even as the book of books says about us. Have you ever heard people say that there are parallel worlds? And did you ever hear someone say that there are worlds within worlds? As for me, yes. I myself have heard these sayings, though I didn't comprehend them the way I do now. There, as we all know, is a physical dimension that consists of matter and energy. As we are taught in science class, it is the world that we experience through our human bodies. But then there is another dimension called the realm of spirits, which is the first of all parallel worlds, to which there is a bright side and a dark side. We experience that through our spirit bodies, while our souls are touched by the experiences thereof. Amazingly, some of us are quite aware of other parallel universes beyond the first two. Now, to some it might sound a bit strange and perhaps nonsensical, even to the point that they may even think that we have taken leave of our minds. But please let them heed these words. Even my grandmother, may God rest her soul, once said that in every head there is a world. But I have learned to take it to the next level and say, in some heads there is a multiverse. There are parallel galaxies that some of us can access through the power of our complex minds. That is, our complex superhuman minds, though finite as they are. I, for one, have discovered that I was made steward, by the providence of God, over a parallel multiverse with its own solar systems that contain even Earth-like planets. Just as we were created in the first two universes, we can be creators in our own parallel universes. Do you have one? But also I strongly believe this. Though we created our own worlds, we are made by someone who created the first two universes that we were born into. So do not say that I am a god, nor think that I am the God of gods. I am not, nor will I become. Am I perfect? Am I sinless? By no means. My holiness isn't that of my own. My superhuman powers do not come from within me, nor from any so-called spirit guide. Therefore, do not think that I would claim to be a sorcerer, for the sorceries of the real world are a practice that runs incompatible with my spiritual beliefs. Nobody should ever bow down to me nor give me any worship. But if you want to worship me and please me with your worship, then do this instead. Worship the God that I worship, for I am a lesser creator, which is a member of a much greater creation. Both you and I are created beings, as I pray that we all keep in mind. The book of Revelation has an account worth remembering. St. John the Apostle stood in awe of a certain angel. Then he bowed down to worship that angel, who then responded by saying, "Don't do that. I am a fellow servant with your siblings and the prophets, and with those who keep the words of this book. Worship God." This is the angel whose example I will follow whenever anyone dares to cross this sacred boundary, whether in this world or in another. The Holy Book confirms that we are created to be similar to the Creator, but never equal to the three that bear record in heaven. These three are one, though hard as it is for even the brightest of minds to comprehend fully. We are only, yes only, similar to the Creator God. Therefore we are not equal in any way, but with a heart of arrogance the devil wanted to be equal to or greater than the Godhead. Even the highest of archangels cannot compare to the one who created us all. Chapter 2. What we do and don't do. As much as we are only human, we as lesser creators can build our own solar systems and construct our own galaxies, even with new Earth-like planets teeming with life, but not in the first two dimensions. Like the great Creator forms living organisms in these first two dimensions, we forge our own creation in our very own parallel universes. The first dimension is the realm of spirits. The second dimension is the realm of science. Human life in those two worlds is only for the great Creator to tinker with. Therefore, I do not condone human cloning, because we ourselves were created on planet Earth. As Jesus spoke in parables, so do I. Here is a story worth repeating. A carpenter was working on a project, and he had many tools at his disposal. He had to go out and buy food for his children, who were too young to be carpenters. "Only play with what I give you, and do not touch any of those dangerous tools," said the carpenter to his children, to whom he had given plastic toys that resembled carpentry tools. Now, while the carpenter was still out and about, the little kids were enticed by their father's real carpentry tools, which appeared to be much more fun than their own tool-shaped toys. One by one, the children abandoned their toys and began to play with their dad's tools instead. Soon they badly injured themselves while playing with those dangerous tools. So much blood was spilled, and the children were in great pain. Then the carpenter returned home with a bag full of groceries. He dropped his bag and wept as soon as he saw the horrors of what had happened to his children as a result of their disobedience. Oh, how his heart was deeply grieved. Weeping filled the house. It was already too late when the children said, "Papa was right. We should have never messed with his tools. Look at us now. We were better off playing with our toys, which were a whole lot safer." And so it is with those who try to tamper with human life in this world of God's creation. That is something we must never do, although we are permitted to create the characters from the stories that take place in our own parallel universes and multiverses, but leave the mastery of the first two realms to our Creator. For it is dangerous to tamper with such a sacred thing as human life, though we can only make repairs to it by means of medicinal practice. Our bodies are to be regarded as holy temples of the Spirit of the Creator. Nevertheless, we were only given dominion over the beasts and fields of this planet, as those who can create our own Earth-like planets, but only in our own parallel universes. We can also live in them while simultaneously living on this version of planet Earth. We are not omnipresent as our Creator is, but we can be in more than one place at a time. I myself have lived on a few Earth-like planets in which I exist as different versions of myself. Even the great Creator himself once became a member of his own creation. Though still the God of gods, he was the Word who became flesh and dwelt among mortals. There, in the town of Bethlehem, he was born into a family of regular human beings. Yes, he was a creative spirit being, but was also living as an average human being. Though human, he never did anything immoral, nor was he toxic in any way. He even humbled himself despite being the very Creator of us all. He suffered that which was common to mere mortals, and even allowed himself to take the blame for everyone's wrongdoings. He innocently took the blame by means of a criminal's death, but then he resurrected and saved many of us from eternal destruction. In that same manner, we too can create worlds and also live in them. But the Creator forbids us that we should try to become gods and demand worship from members of our own creation. We are also not to declare ourselves omnipotent, for only the Creator can truly be all-powerful. We are not messiahs either, but we should strive to be like our Messiah in the way that we treat others. We are not Christ, with a lowercase c, but we are expected to be like the Christ, who came to earth as a man who was pure in heart. We are not little gods as some would say that we are, but we are to be godly people. We are superhuman beings, clothed in imperfect earthly bodies, with a sinful nature that we all struggle against. Let us claim victory and take authority over it. Oftentimes, the things that happen around me in this world affect some of the events in my parallel world. Isn't that interesting? Now, even if we can create a perfect world that is free from its own corruption, here is what will happen. It will quickly become corrupt and imperfect because of my own imperfection and the corruption around me. Even we as lesser creators are not perfect. Only the great Creator is perfect and worthy of highest praise. Chapter 3. For those who remember a past life. Do you remember being someone else in a past life? Have you ever thought you were once a famous person or an historic figure before you were born? Chances are that this historic person you thought you were is still alive and well. He or she is a version of yourself that is living on an Earth-like planet, located in a parallel universe that only you and the Creator have access to. Write a story about it. Learn about the time period and the culture, for there are some planets in those parallel multiverses that are set in a different timeline. Some are in a contemporary timeline. Some are in a historic timeline, while some might even be in a futuristic timeline. In your imagination, spend a reasonable amount of time reenacting some events that take place in that world. Then you might learn about this other you. It is a part of you that exists in another form and in another place that runs parallel to this one. The Book of Books clearly teaches that every human lifespan comes to an end, in the realm of science, and only once. You only live once, as they say, but after that we each go into the afterlife, which is located in the realm of spirits. Some will go to the bright side of the afterlife, in which there is a heavenly paradise, filled with eternal life and endless pleasure. Others will go into the dark side of the afterlife, where there is a hellish prison, filled with eternal death and endless destruction. May the grace of the Messiah redeem you from the latter. There are also some spirit beings who like to implant false memories into people's minds in order to play tricks on them, resulting in the belief that one has died many times. They are deceitful trolls from the dark side of the spirit realm, and they are trying to keep some of us from knowing the truth about the afterlife. A most important of all truths. Beware of their clever schemes. Now, if anybody ever tells you to get a life, then tell them, I've already got a life. In fact, I have more than one life. The other life or lives I am living are in a parallel universe. Chapter 4. How to get to the heavenly paradise. Last but not least, I want to teach you how to ensure that you secure a place in the heavenly paradise when you reach the end of your lifespan and transition into the afterlife. Never trust the amount of good works that you have done, nor any other human work, for that would lead to the sin of arrogance. Never trust in organized religion, nor even in church membership, for that would lead to idolatry, which is the rejection of God and Savior. Remember that the church is not a building, but it is a gathering of people. Acknowledge that we are all imperfect, and have committed some toxic and selfish deeds over the course of our lives. Examples of those misdeeds include arrogance, greed, bullying, murder, being a pervert, lying, theft, abusiveness, gluttony, and other negative behaviors. Those evil things bring destruction to the soul. Acknowledging that our Creator and Messiah innocently died a criminal's death, but then resurrected in order to erase our record of wrongs, is the way of salvation. With His sacred blood, He paid the price for our admission into the heavenly paradise. All we have to do is accept this all-expenses-paid admission as a gift, not as a reward. But also we are to confess every evil deed that we have done and receive His forgiveness for them. Through heartfelt prayer, all who have already done so have been forgiven and are heaven-bound. What is the name of the Creator who became our Messiah, who has forgiven us and purchased for us that very special gift? His name is Yeshua Menetzeret, second member of the tripartite Godhead, whom the Christians refer to as Jesus the Christ. If I don't meet you in this life, may we meet on the bright side of the afterlife. In the meantime, feel free to explore your parallel universes or multiverses. Enjoy this gift of creativity and imagination that was given to us by the great Creator. May our activities in all the universes be pleasing in the sight of the three who bear record in heaven. May we write volumes of amazing stories about our adventures in this world and in the parallel worlds. May the great Creator bless you in every way. Brotherly love to all my fellow believers and to all my fellow lesser creators. That is who we are. This concludes the Catechism of the Lesser Creators. Thank you for listening.